Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am glad to be with you. My name is Trygve Olsen. I am with you today thanks to the Constant Contact's Day of Digital. Today we're going to be talking about the basics of social media. This is a great social media 101 class. We're going to go over a lot of the simple first steps. I'm going to talk to you about where do you say things, how do you say them, and what exactly is going to be the most beneficial for you. So thanks everybody again for joining. Hopefully you'll find me just a moderate bit funny. If not, we'll have a complaint line for you a little later. So again, thanks for joining. If you'd like to get a hold of me, I'm going to be going relatively fast. A couple of administrative notes before we begin. First of all, this will be automatically posted to YouTube as soon as I'm done. Second, if you are interested in getting a copy of my deck, you can go ahead and email me. My email address is on the screen right now. It's trygve@BizzyWeb.com. Before I get started, just want to make sure that everything is working correctly. Pretty sure that it is. Secondly, if those of you who are joining me live in real time right now, love for the opportunity for you to ask me some questions. The easiest way to do that is by going to Twitter and enter the hashtag BizzyWebinar. I'm going to be monitoring Twitter on the side as I'm talking, so I should be able to pick up any questions that you have, hopefully relatively quickly, and I will stop occasionally to answer any questions that you might have. So with that, let's get you out of here and get you home for the day and get into what we're going to be talking about today. Quick plug for us before we really get into it. BizzyWeb is a full-service digital marketing agency based in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We have a team of about 16 people. I am one of 4 authorized local experts for Constant Contact, who is part of the BizzyWeb team. What does full-service digital marketing mean? It means we can take care of anything from websites to social presences to growing your audience to actually getting your audience to take a real and tangible action, which is one of the things that we're going to be talking about today. Of our work, this is by no means a big sales pitch. This is merely just to give you some credence that hopefully you feel that I have some idea of what I'm talking about as we get into this. So if you are interested, please feel free and check us out at BizzyWeb.com. So why are we here today? Well, it's because most often any of you have had the same similar experience that I had, is you've gone to a family gathering and you're a small business owner and your great aunt Trudy says something like that her cousin's aunt's little daughter has made millions of dollars over the internet, and the way in which she, you know that it's probably not a true story, is they use the word "the." So Trudy says, "A little Katie made millions of dollars using the Facebook. Why don't you do that?" You think, well, gosh, I do that, but maybe I could do it better. Maybe I could do it in a way that is more enticing to my audience. Maybe I could do it in a way that actually does help me make some money. Can't guarantee that I can help you make some money, but ultimately we're all just trying to figure out what is this tool and how exactly do we use it. The good news is we're not exactly alone in our issues. 54% of small businesses statistically do say that they need help with social media marketing. Either it hasn't worked exactly to their advantage, or they wish they could do it better. Similarly, almost 57% of nonprofits need help with social media marketing. So the good news is we're all in the same boat. There's always room for improvement. There's always things that we can do to make this better. Here are some of the things that I hear all the time because we work in social media at BizzyWeb. Social media looks really, really interesting, but I'll never have millions and millions of fans. Well, that's a good point, but the problem with having millions and millions of fans and interactions on a social channel is you don't get the opportunity to really take advantage of what you're good at, and I'll get into that in just a second. Here's my favorite. Using new marketing tools sounds great, but I don't know what to say. I'm from the upper Midwest. It's very much a cultural thing up here in Minnesota, is that we don't like tooting our own horn. Good news is I'm going to be able to give you some tips and tricks on how to make that a little easier and take some of the issues off the table for you. Reading what's being said sounds potentially useful, of course, but I never have a dedicated staff to do it right. Well, when you don't have a dedicated staff, it does mean that you do have to take advantages of some tools and some interesting ways in which you can make your life better. I'm going to be talking about some of those right now. Finally, those two new tools and networks every day, but I just don't have the time to stay current. Just like anything, there's going to be some ebb and flow, and there's going to be some opportunities that somebody's going to try and create the newest, best thing. You know, much like having a brand new smartphone come out, you think, oh man, does that mean that my tool isn't the greatest? I'm going to give you some basic structures of what I think is important functionalities to have in a tool, and then you can make some recommendations for you, but then you'll be able to take it from there and really have a good understanding of what kind of tools you need to make the decision that's best for you. So let's get back to Aunt Trudy a second. Back in the dark ages of social media, about 2007, 2008, people were truly making millions of dollars using social media. Those people, that was because it really was like a Wild West affair back then. And so you really did have the opportunity to do that. But unfortunately, in today's day and age, again, back in 2007, 2008, really only 10% of small businesses use social media marketing, and not a very small percentage of those people used it correctly and used it well. But within 5 years, that jumped to over 87% of small businesses have some form of social media marketing that they're doing. They might not be doing it well. They might not be doing it great. Certainly not, they're doing it in a way that makes Aunt Trudy happy, so she talks about you at parties. But we're going to get there and get to a way in which we can help. The bad news with this, though, of course, is that with so many people flooding the marketplace, it means that we have to make sure that our efforts are laser focused and make sure that everything we do serves a purpose. And we're going to talk about that today. All this being said, don't be afraid. There is a great competitive advantage that you do have and that you are bringing to the table to make your life better and to help grow your business. You've got loyal and happy customers. You've got a great customer experience that you provide to them. If you don't provide your customers a great customer experience, I'd encourage you to call your local cable provider. I'm sure they're hiring. Finally, you do have interesting things to say, and you do have interesting things to share with the people that you are enticing to work with you, and then also valuing that you are currently working with them. So how am I going to break this down today? I'm going to do this in 4 parts. Number 1, why should you use social media? Some of you might be coming to me today with the idea that you're just not sure if it's right for you, and that's an okay position to have. It's not unfamiliar, and it's not necessarily wrong. I'm going to go through the basics, and then you can make a decision as to what's right for you. Next, I'm going to talk about the top 5 social networks that are out there, what their features and benefits are. Next, I'm going to answer that big $1 million question. What do I say? There's an easy formula in which I can help you follow that will give you a good understanding of what you need to do on a daily basis. And then finally, what exactly do you need to do to get started today? So before I get to that point, I just want to remind you that if you use the hashtag BizzyWebinar, I am monitoring the hashtag BizzyWebinar to see if any of you have any any questions out there. I'd be more than happy to answer for them. So it doesn't look like we have anything yet, so let's go ahead and get started into the first one. Why do we use social media? Well, first of all, and most importantly, it truly influences decision making. 84% of social media users show their support for a cause online in some form or another. 74% of shoppers use social media to guide purchases. This is sort of the age-old Facebook question where you go on at the end of the day and you see somebody that you haven't talked to in a while asks a very basic and benign question: does anybody know a good local plumber? That influence and that relationship that the person who's answering that question is giving is creating an influence and creating a help and a framework for you to guide what exactly you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Finally, 43% of people purchase a product if it's been shared or favorited by a friend. I think this tends to fall in the geek mode. I know that I do that because I'm kind of a nerd. Anytime I see something that's cool and inexpensive that I can perhaps purchase without making my wife too angry, I certainly do so. Last purchase I made that was I got pre-approval to buy was an ice cube tray that was in the shape of Han Solo frozen in carbonite. Only cost me $8. I haven't used it yet, which proves my wife's point, but still it was neat. The new word of mouth for you needs to be engagement. So quick story, when my grandmother was alive, she passed away recently. She passed away at 102. And I can remember as a kid going to visit her, and every afternoon, if the weather was good, she would go out into her backyard with a pitcher of brandy old fashions, and she would sit across her picket fence and talk to her neighbor, Arlene Boyle, about what was happening in her day. Can you believe the way the new butcher is cutting the steaks? Can you believe what Art down at the Fashionette did to poor Margaret Miller's hair? It was a one-on-one experience, but again, it was relating what exactly was happening in the community and what exactly was happening during the day. The good news is that basic one-on-one relationship that my grandmother and Arlene used to participate in. By the way, as a side note, if you really want to know the secret to living to be 102, I recommend pictures of brandy old fashions every day at 4:30. So again, that one-to-one relationship that they had is exactly what we're doing using social media tools. We are still asking people and relating to them on a human level. We're just doing so in an arena that is surrounded by spectators. And we do it in multiple different places at the same time. So all of these things are really tools, and they're simply a megaphone in which we're using to amplify a great customer experience that we have. So what exactly does that customer service experience look like in real time? Well, here's a hypothetical store. Some of you might have a physical store. Some of you might have a store that is metaphorical. You might work out of your home. Regardless, you all have a point of that you start working with customers. So here's our store. The first thing that we do is we provide people with a really great wow experience. If we don't provide that great wow experience, chances are good we're either going to be the local cable company or we aren't going to be in business too long. Once we provide people with that great wow experience, we entice them to stay in touch. We ask them, can you let us know how this worked out for you? Because after you've provided that great human experience where you've truly invested some of your time into your customer, it feeds your soul to know how exactly did it work out and to the positive. So after you entice them to stay in touch, you re-engage them through your social channels. You ask them, would you please follow us on Facebook? Can we follow you on Twitter? Would you like to join our email marketing list? And when you engage people online by saying thank you and by responding positively to testimonials, what ends up happening then is we get people to come back to the store and come back for a return engagement. But similarly, we also drive social visibility. Again, think of this as a tennis match. If I'm providing you with a great experience and a great customer experience in the middle of a 20,000 seat arena, then all those people who are watching and trying to figure out who they need to buy from, they're going to look at that positively because they're your friend and they're realizing that if I gave a great experience to you, they're giving a great experience to somebody else. So if we are driving social visibility, what ends up happening then is that creates new prospects for us. People who, when the time comes for them to make a buying decision, hopefully we will stay top of mind and stay at the forefront of people's mind. So keep in mind throughout this entire customer engagement process, the social media portion of it only comes in on step 3. The old school stuff of providing a great experience and reminding them and asking them to stay in touch, that doesn't change just because there's this fancy new tool called social media out there. We do have to do some basic business work of giving people a great experience and reminding them of that great experience before social media kicks in. That social media part does drive people back into the store, and it drives new prospects, but you don't get there unless you provide a great experience. Okay, we're through part one. Why is the value of using social media so important? I'm going to quick pull out my phone and check and see what the BizzyWeb hashtag has gotten. Looks like I don't have anything as of yet, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going. And we're going to talk about the top 5 social networks that are out there right now. Now, it's important when we get into this to realize that my top 5 might be a little different based on what your industry is, but generally speaking, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram are sort of thought of as the top 5 that are basic part of this. Good news is there's sort of a 6th that's known as Google+. The Google+ is sort of, the best way to describe it is that it's social media for social media nerds like me. There's not a great amount of traffic that goes through that, but it does have some great value for search engine optimization. So if you're interested in learning more about search engine optimization, I encourage you to go to BizzyWeb.com. We have a number of other webinars that we do about the basics of search engine optimization and why it's important. I don't really have the time to get into it here today. But we're going to go through these top 5, and we're going to start with Facebook. What exactly is Facebook? It's the largest social sharing site for both users and businesses around the entire world. What do you post on Facebook? Well, you post text, you post links, you post photos, you post videos that engage people, it informs them, and you ask them and promote something new and new businesses. So what's the best course of action? You should be posting on Facebook probably once or twice a day. No more than that. If you post 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, you become that annoying friend that we all have, where you start to wonder what exactly did they do during the day other than post on Facebook. What's the benefit of using Facebook? It reaches a tremendously large audience. And secondly, it also has a great advertising platform. Facebook's advertising platform has 128, at last count, different ways to separate who sees an advertisement that comes from you. So it's a great opportunity if you have the knowledge of what exactly your customer base looks like, how old they are, what are their other interests, where are they. This Facebook is a great way to advertise your business. Let's talk about LinkedIn. What is LinkedIn? It's a social networking for business. Facebook is sort of the big dog in the house, but LinkedIn is a specialty offshoot of that, based exclusively on the idea of focusing just on business. How many times, what should you be posting? Well, content about your business, about your expertise, curated content, sharing collegial thought through groups. These are all really good things to use LinkedIn for. How often should you post on LinkedIn? Well, about twice a week is really a good start. Again, any more than that, and people are going to start being overwhelmed if they see you all the time. But at least twice a week, you can be forefront of the mind without being overwhelming. What's the business benefit of LinkedIn? It really helps you create what's known as thought leadership. If you are providing best practices to the world at large about what you do, you're sort of viewed as an expert. And so then the idea is when people need to have a certain amount of information or do a certain thing, they always want to hire an expert. And since you're providing your expertise on a regular basis, the idea is you would call them. LinkedIn has had a resurgence recently in the last 2.5 years. After the economic downturn in 2008, LinkedIn really got overrun by people who were trying to sell something or trying to get a job, basically. And really, in the last couple of years, they've sort of gotten away from that, and it's really gotten back to its basic focus of providing great thought leadership and collegial information for people who are similarly in your industry. So next is Twitter. Twitter is one of my personal favorites. That's why we're using the hashtag BizzyWebinar in order to check it out. What is Twitter? It's social conversation and information sharing. Another way to say that is it's microblogging. It is the idea of writing down what's happening to you and what's interesting in your world, but only in 140 characters. How often should you post to Twitter? I'm sorry, what should you post to Twitter? What's going on with you? Photos, videos, blogs, interesting things that you read, interesting information that you want to share with your audience. That's a great thing to use on Twitter. How often should you use Twitter? At least 5 times a day if you want to have any sort of business benefit to it in any sort of timetable that makes sense. I know that seems like a lot. The good news is you can curate a lot of content. Secondly, as sort of a fun sideline, is a lot of celebrities and a lot of famous people use Twitter. So this really has an interesting way of flattening people out. You can talk to people who you've always admired or had some interest in because they are posting on Twitter too. And so if you get lucky, you're able to actually share and communicate with those people. I am a fairly let's say husky person, and so I have been trying to contact Cam from Modern Family on Twitter for a long time because I want to know where he gets those beautiful shirts, but he's not out there. So Eric Stone Street, if you're listening to this and you can hear my voice, please drop me a note on Twitter at TrigVO. What's the business benefit of Twitter? It's the fastest way to reach your audience quickly, and another great example of a business benefit is customer service. So I've been poo-pooing the cable company a little today, just poking some fun. But if you ever want to try this, write a tweet about Comcast. Say, I don't like Comcast. Within 15 to 20 minutes, you will get a response back from somebody who works at Comcast asking you what exactly is the problem and how can they help. So it's a wonderful way to engage with somebody on a quick basis if they have the infrastructure in place, like most cable companies do. Next is Pinterest. Pinterest is a really fun social network because everything that we've talked to this point is a recitation of what has been and what has happened, and sharing memories, basically. The fun thing about Pinterest is what could be. So they share recipes, they share activities, they share interesting things that you can do in order to make your life better. So it's really focused on the future and what you can do to live the kind of life you want. What exactly is Pinterest? Well, it's truly social media billboarding in the traditional sense. It's a social site where everybody's got a billboard and they get to pin things to the billboard of things they like. It could be something from an individual person, it could be something that they've created themselves, or it could even be something from a company, which is where we come in. What do we need to post on Pinterest? Well, we need to have an image-heavy rotation of things. So this is not the place where you write about your business and you write about your products. What you do is you provide images of products, images of things, digital content, videos, interesting things that are happening. Another good use of this is to share your company culture. On Monday, I was in the office at BizzyWeb. We like our bee metaphors at BizzyWeb, and one of my colleagues was taking pictures of all of us wearing a little bee headband, and that went up on social networking, and I think that went up on Pinterest too. How often do you need to post on Pinterest? Well, it is a heavy rotation channel, so you do need to be posting at least 5 times a day in order to make any sort of real true impact on Pinterest. What's the business benefit? Well, pins can be found anytime. Anyone searching for something that is relevant to them or something that interests them, they can automatically have the ability to search through it. And if they find something that you've pinned, well, in that case, it's going to direct back to your site, which is where the fun begins, and you should be able to have a really great engagement process start from there. Next is Pinterest. And Pinterest is, again, a very visual app, a visual social media application. It's a mobile app, so you can see things on a desktop, but really in order to post to Instagram, you have to be using a phone for both pictures and video sharing. How much should you be posting, and what should you post? Well, post videos of your business. Again, show your company culture if you can, of your products, of your people, having fun, and having just a wonderful time. The great equalizer here is that when you share this information on Pinterest, remember that people buy from who they like. And so if you're showing that your human side, not that you were just a big giant automaton, showing that you like dogs, showing you having fun in your real life, people start to have things in common with you, and they start remembering you as a person and not as a provider. How often do you need to be posting on Instagram? Well, the best thing that I can recommend is about once a day. More than that, people are going to be starting to think that you're going to have too much fun and not working. The benefit to Instagram, again, people get to know you and get to know your images through your business, through the images that you provide. We are at a very base level, all very visual animals. We like seeing things, and we start making value judgments based on a site before we see anything else. So this is a great way, if you've got a visual-based business or a thing in which you can provide, that you can really take advantage of a social media channel. So that's the top social networks. Now we're going to get to the third question of what exactly do I say. But before I get there, I'm going to go ahead and quickly check BizzyWebinar's hashtag. Doesn't look like we have anything new as of yet. Again, for those of you who are listening online, you can feel free and post a tweet using the hashtag BizzyWebinar. I'll do my best to see it and answer your question live. So here's the big question. What exactly do I say? Well, there's no wrong answer to this. The best thing I can suggest, if you're trying to figure out where to start, just go ahead and do it. But how do we make our posts work for you? Well, there's a simple formula that we recommend at BizzyWeb, and I want to share it with you today. So 50% of the time, when you're posting on social media, share interesting and entertaining posts. You're not trying to sell anything. You're not trying to push a particular agenda. You're merely saying, here's some really interesting things or entertaining things. So again, I mentioned that post of me wearing a headband with little bee wings on it. That doesn't particularly make you want to buy something from me more or less than you did before, but it does make you realize that maybe I do have a good sense of humor and I'm an interesting guy. Similarly, you want to do that kind of thing on a regular basis. This is a great place to share, and if you were all in front of me, I'm sure some of you might be laughing at this point, but it's a great place to share cute cat videos. I never underestimate the value of a cute cat video because everybody likes a cute cat video. Does it necessarily gain you a greater market share? Probably not, but it does humanize you a little and make people remember you. So that's 50% of the time. 30% of the time, you want to offer people helpful information about what they are doing and what you are doing in order to make their life better. These are things like tricks and tips, thought leadership, things like white papers, any information that demonstrates what you do as a business and what you offer your clients. 30% of the time, you can be sharing that. The key, though, is not to be sharing it in an overbearing way that demands attention immediately. You do want to be at the forefront of mind. However, when you club somebody over the head and you demand that they buy today or else, then it's just not going to work. Because there is such an influx of content on social medias, people are just going to be going fast and furious to get away from you. 20% of the time, we do want to promote our business. So again, 50, 30, 20. The 20% of the time, again, the key thing is we want to make sure that we are offering people interesting information in a way that doesn't club them over the head. And I'm going to show you an example of how exactly that works. So here's some great examples of that 50%. Here is a post on Instagram. Which is a picture quote. So the words on there are actually part of the overall picture. It's interesting. It's visually exciting, and you read it and you feel good about yourself for a second and a half, and then you move on. This is an orchard that posted a picture of one of their adorable goats. Again, you can never beat a cute animal picture. The idea there, again, something cute, something benign, something wonderful to make you smile a little. This is a tweet that we picked up from a company that is focusing on science and technology for girls, and they posted a Today in History quote about the first female astronaut to pilot a space shuttle mission that happened that day. So again, it's empowering things, it's interesting, but it's not pushing a particular agenda. Here's some great examples on the 30% idea. So fun fact, did you know that nectarines are actually just a fuzzyless peach? So look at all those beautiful nectarines there. Kind of makes your mouth water, and you just want to pick one up and eat it. So the fun fact is nice, but really the visual decision making that you're making is another thing. So I actually had to have this picture explained to me because I have one of those Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and I have a little dog at home. So I thought, well, I mean, this happens to me on a daily basis, but this is actually a dog walking in concrete. It's cute, it's funny, and it also leads to a tag about the best ways to cure your concrete. Next, that tricks and tips idea that I talked about a little earlier, 15 LinkedIn marketing hacks to grow your business. In that particular instance, again, we're looking at a fixed amount of time. I know that there's only going to be 15 hacks to grow my business. And once I see those 15, I can move on. So the nice thing there is it actually gives you a sort of an expectation of time as you're going into it. And then 20%, here's some great examples that I see. This is a humane society where truly in the most crude sense, the animals are their inventory. So by providing a picture of a really cute cat, it makes you pull at your heartstrings a little and ask the question, well, you know, could I have a cat at home? And if so, would this be the cat for me? Next is a company that makes doll clothes for American Girl dolls. I fortunately have a son, and because I know that if I had a daughter, I would fully be buying American Girl dolls every other day because they're just so darn cute. So again, the promotion here is they're not clubbing you over the head that says that you have to buy this particular pattern. What they are saying is, look at how great this doll looks, and your doll could look that good too. Then finally, it doesn't always have to be promoting a particular product or an agenda. It can give you an idea of what is the value proposition of doing a thing. In this particular instance, this is a conference note saying, here's who the keynote speaker is, and here's what you're going to get if you come to the keynote agenda. So again, remember that 50, 30, 20 idea. Here's a really great post that I found. This is a company called Galuppi's. It's just a local bar that's got live music. So look at what we've got here. They've got it's really a multi-layered post here. So all it is it's a basic list of here's who's going to be at the shows coming up. But as we break this down, there's a lot more going in there because they're saying, A, we have live entertainment. B, we're a fun place to go, and C, here's when you need to be here if you want to go see the Beatles cover band. What ends up happening is when they shared this, they had 4 people like it, which again doesn't seem like a whole lot, but those 4 people, all of them have a social media following that see that they like this particular thing, and one person even shared it with his social media network. What happened then is Patrick shared it with his friends, and he says, look, hey, don't forget there's a live band this Friday night. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, who's really doing the selling here? Is the restaurant doing the selling, or is Patrick doing the selling? Well, in this particular case, Patrick's the one who's doing the selling. And the result of that is his friend Susan likes it and says, hey, I love live music too, let's go. At the beginning of this, Susan didn't know that there was live music at the restaurant. Patrick was the one who told her because Patrick was the one who was selling her on the idea. And because Patrick has already gone and Patrick has experienced it, Susan already has a preconceived notion that it is going to be fun and it is going to be interesting. Why else would her buddy Patrick go there? So the good news is the restaurant actually got a brand new customer out of it without having to really interfere or push a particular agenda. They just say, here's what we've got going. So what's the science of this and how does it actually work in real life? Well, the most important idea is that you need to reach your customers where they are. If your customers aren't on Twitter, then you shouldn't be on Twitter. If your customers are on Facebook, then you really do need to be on Facebook. And that Facebook audience does help, again, as I talked about earlier, amplify your message. It's a tool in which you can use to get people to do what you want. And as those people do those things that you ask them to do, like a post, share a post, forward something, you're going to get a much larger word of mouth, and you're going to get a butterfly effect or a pebble effect as you drop a pebble into a pond, where more and more of your audience is going to grow, and you're leveraging the great customer experience that you're already providing to get those people to come back into your store and buy from you again. Why is this important? Well, on average, 338 is the average number of friends per adult Facebook user. So even if you have a small number of likes, remember that on the average, that like is increasing your audience by another 350 people. Small adds up. If you look at all the numbers I've got on screen, that adds up to close to 100 things. So don't be afraid of having not a lot of large engagement to start. If you're getting some engagement, that's okay. And it's a great way to build on, and it's a great way to snowball into a much larger effect. All right, so we've talked about social media. We've talked about which ones to use. We've talked about what to say. I'm going to quickly pull up my Twitter feed to make sure that I'm able to answer any questions that have been asked. Looks like we're clear. Let's talk about what my recommendations are to get started. First thing I'd suggest you do, if you don't have one already, is start with Facebook. Just about everybody is on Facebook now, and it's a great way to grow your business. First thing you do is create a page. Now, there's a difference between a Facebook page and a profile. As yourself, you have a Facebook profile that allows you to post all the things that you truly believe passionately about. But that's different than your page. Your page is a static thing that is created for your business. It's pretty hard to do. You go to facebook.com/pages/create, and then you fill out the info, you add your logo and a cover photo, and then you're done. That's it. Whole thing will take you about 15 minutes to create a really good Facebook page. However, the second part is the hardest one. Tell people you're there. Just by opening a store, that doesn't mean that that's going to gain you a whole lot of business. You do have to show people why they should come in. So send out an email to your marketing list that says, hey, we're on Facebook now. Add it to your website. Add it to your blog. Have social buttons everywhere that you can. Have a sign up in your store that says, please follow us on Facebook. Even have it posted on your business cards or even on your email signature file line. And add social links to everything that you do. You want to add them in a couple of different places for a couple of different ways. The first is what I've got highlighted on screen there in the yellow. Those are share links. So if I click on that F, it's going to automatically open up my Facebook and share that particular thing that I'm looking at. Easiest way to grow an audience is find out where your best customers are and then engage them as your Facebook page. Again, we've given them a great relationship and a great customer experience offline. Now we just want to do the same online. We don't want to have a store that doesn't have any thing on the shelves, though. So even if we don't have a following at all, we do want to start posting. Post about once or twice a day. Visual aids are great, pictures are great, but use that 50-30-20 rule that I've talked about before. Pay attention to your likes, pay attention to the comments, pay attention to the shares. To start with, those people are the ones that you're going to want to follow and that you're going to want to interact with on a regular basis to thank them for being a great customer and thank them for being a great advocate for you. If you're not sure what to share, the easiest thing to do is to ask your audience. Say, hey, what would you like to see from us? You will get some answers. They might not be plentiful. It might not be the answer you were expecting, but you will get answers. Next thing I want to talk about is the difference between creating content and curating content. And this is my fourth tip, is repurpose as much as you can. So you don't have to create a constant stream of new content at all times. You can use one piece of content in multiple different ways. So here's a Boys and Girls Club press release that they put out. They just put it out on their website, then they added it to their Facebook page, then they tweeted about it, and then they sent out an email about it. And at the end of the day, they got a much larger audience as a result. So here's my fifth tip. Make social media work for you. This isn't something that you need to be chained to the extent that you are constantly thinking, what do I need to do? How much do I need to put out? This should be a tool that helps you. It shouldn't be what you do for a living. So make sure that you're only putting in about 20 to 30 minutes a day. Make sure that you're sharing it on your email newsletters, post interesting offers that you might have, and share those culture photos that show you having fun and enjoying where you work. If you can, give some advice. The easiest way to do that is to write down what are the questions that people ask you on a regular basis. After you write down those questions that people ask you on a regular basis, well, there you've got a lot of great content that you can start with. And finally, you could even ask a good question about what's going on in other people's lives and how much have they enjoyed something. The easiest, if you don't ask a question, you're not going to get an answer. So if you want to know what your customers and what your audience is thinking, go ahead and ask them a question. I talked a long time ago about the simple tools. Here's where I wanted to get into them. There's a couple of really great tools. Facebook, for one, has a scheduling tool so that you can actually schedule when your Facebook posts go out. The value in doing that is it brings two things into play. Number one, you don't have to do everything on time. So you can sit down and write a ton of Facebook posts at once and then have them go out over the course of a week or 2 weeks. Hootsuite is another great tool. It's completely free. It's available at hootsuite.com. It does the same kind of things for more social networks than that. Here's what the poster looks like on Hootsuite. Next, in using those tools, you get to set up some searches, not necessarily on Facebook, but certainly on Twitter. You can actually monitor people who are saying the things that you are interested in. So if you're looking for somebody who needs a new car, you can actually ask Twitter to provide you the list of who is saying, I need a new car today. In terms of time, again, I wouldn't spend more than about 20 minutes a day on this. Any more than that, and you're going to be that annoying friend that we all have that does nothing but post on Facebook. Less than that, and you're not going to get a really competitive advantage. So kind of sit there. Next thing I want to show you as a helpful tool is something that we create for all of our clients at BizzyWeb. This is an editorial calendar where we actually plot out over the course of a month what exactly we're going to say, and I want to share with you a sample one that might work for you. So hypothetically, let's say that this is our social media following, and on Monday we're going to post every Monday we're going to post a Monday motivational quote. Tuesday I'm going to post on LinkedIn, and I'm going to share tricks and tips on how to make your life better. Wednesday I'm going to post an interesting fact that is relevant to my business, but doesn't actually, that shows my, it shows my expertise, but doesn't club somebody over the head. Thursday, I'm gonna share what's new at our business as a way of creating a call to action and entice people to call me. But again, I'm not gonna demand that they call right away. I'm gonna give them a reason to call. And then Friday, just something fun and interesting that is going to get people to remember you as they go into the weekend. So we actually plot these out for all of our clients, and I encourage you to go ahead and follow this same model because it helps you answer that question of what exactly do I say. If you plot it out ahead of time, it's not going to be that challenging to really get into. So I did provide one here if you that takes a look at it. So again, if you want my deck, I'd be more than happy to give it to you. All this being said about social media, I want to encourage you not to forget about email marketing. Email marketing has a great way to push people out to your social channels, and then those people who are out on their social channels come back to join your email list. Email also has a tremendous return on investment. By and large, if you do email marketing correct, you should be getting about $42 for every dollar you spend on email marketing. It's a great usage of your business. We have a number of busy webinars that we've done on email marketing. Similarly, I know at Constant Contact, there's been a lot of webinars today from a number of my colleagues talking about the value of email marketing. So here's an example of how exactly this works to your advantage. This is a company called the Social Media Examiner. They had a website. It's kind of like Mashable, and they had almost 400,000 people on there. And they went from 400,000 people to 0, all in one night. And they don't know why. These are social media professionals, and they didn't know why this was happening. It just went from 380,000 to 0. So by using Twitter, they asked the question of how do we fix this? Does anybody know who can help? And somebody actually helped them and got it back within about 24 hours. So that social idea to drive people back to your email list includes a couple of different ways. You've got your Facebook business page. Constant Contact has a great sign-up form that directs you directly to Facebook. If you are using any social media platform, really, include a fun post about what you're going to give people when they subscribe to your email list. Instagram, you can post a sign-up form in your profile bio. Pinterest, you can create a really neat image of what you're going to get and something pretty that's going to get people to look at you. The next thing I'd encourage you to do is on every single bio page of all of your employees, have them include a sign-up form to that email list. Because remember, email cycles together with social really nicely in order to grow your list and grow the audience. So this is the Facebook sign-up form app that Constant Contact provides. It's a really simple tool. It takes you about 5 minutes to add it in. All you do is share your email and save the changes there, and then the end company immediately gets their stuff. But more importantly, they do send you an intermediary email that says, hey, we're not going to bother you with a whole lot of junk. Here's what you're going to get. And they set expectations of how much you're going to get emailed and what they're going to do with the email list. That's a quick and benign way to provide some value to your customers who they've given something to you. You can then turn around and say thank you by giving them a nice little list and lay out expectations accordingly. The social share tool is something that is really fun and sort of really unique to Constant Contact as well. This is a tool that is different than the sharing tool. It's a social share tool. So when you click on that F that I talked about before, it automatically pulls up Facebook, and then it automatically creates a post for your end user. So we're making this as easy as humanly possible to get people to share our information. And here's what that post looks like in real time. It's very simple. All your end user has to do is press post, and then you've actually created a message for them, which is pretty fantastic. Next thing I'd recommend is use your Facebook and Instagram photos in your emails. It's a way of really getting people excited about looking at you. And when you do that, it will actually increase your click-through rates by over 150%. So just simply by adding a couple little things, you can grow your audience and grow your results by an incredible amount. In doing so, obviously, you want to ask people to do something and add those social media buttons, which is different than the share buttons because you're asking them to do two different things. So in summary, what are the next steps? First, decide what social network is right for you. If you're just beginning, start with Facebook and then go from there. Third, make it easy for people to find and follow you. Make sure that those people aren't going into just a plain empty store. Fourth, how exactly do we do this? Well, we want to use the 50-30-20 rule for content. What I'd encourage you to do is schedule out your posts and plan weekly for what exactly you're going to post, and just simply write it down and use those scheduling tools to do all of your social media work at once. Next, make sure that you repurpose your content in emails and repurpose your promotions on social media as well. Anything we can do to grow the audience is the best thing that we can do. You know, I know that this is a Constant Contact webinar, but I do want to at least give a little bit of a shout out to Constant Contact because we at BizzyWeb feel like this is a great tool to use. It's got a number of different avenues in it that give a small business marketer really an opportunity to get a leg up, and appreciate the dog photo that I added there as a result. It's only about $50 to $60, $75 a month, but it really does make a tremendous impact in your business. So much so that I did want to let you know that if you are interested in giving it a shot and working through some of these social media efforts today, and including your email marketing effort, we do have a special deal that's available. If you buy today, if you go to constantcontact.com/event-meyer, M-E-Y-E-R, you're going to get an exclusive offer that's only available to you today for coming to my webinar and hopefully laughing politely at my jokes. You're going to get as much email marketing as you can fit into 3 months for only $5 a month. That's about an 85% discount. And if it's something you're interested in, again, you can feel free and reach out to me later. I'd be more than happy to try and hook you up, but it's a deal exclusively only to you. Busy webinars are something that we do on a regular basis. Usually we do them every Wednesday at noon. You can go to BizzyWeb.com/events to check it out. Similarly, if you're not sure if you want to buy Constant Contact, but if you want to try it out, we have an opportunity for you to do that by going to BizzyWeb.com/cc. And then finally, one of the nice things that Constant Contact does is it provides a tremendous amount of marketing resource helps by going to Constant Contact's blog and really being able to look at any sort of webinars, infographics, blog posts. It really gives you a great competitive advantage if you can get there. One last plug for BizzyWeb before you go. If you do want to join our email list, I'd love to have you join it. You can text BIZZY, B-I-Z-Z-Y, to 22828, and you'll automatically get added to our list. So thanks everybody for joining us on the Data Digital. My name is Trigby. I've been going over Social Media 101. Erin Bemis is going to be on in a half an hour. She's going to be talking about, I believe, on content marketing. I'd encourage you to take a listen. Erin's got a lot of really great, valuable tools and insights that should help you grow your business as well. If you have any questions, please feel free and reach out to me, or if you'd like to chat about things we could do to help, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time at our Busy webinar. Good night, everybody.